All right, my friends, welcome to episode 290 of Prof and Dev Play Games. And before we do the intro, I'm going to give you a code for XCOM Chimera Squad. I assume it's on Steam. This is from friend of the show, Brad. F5DJN ZJ07P VBWWQ. I've had that for several weeks. Been meaning to give that away and forgot. So there you go. My name's Larry, the professor at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there's Anthony the Dev at Summer Speak. How was your weekend?
Weekend is uneventful, which is great. I will take an uneventful weekend.
Totally. During the pandemic, I would like to have an eventful, please.
Yeah, I mean, I had to go do my every other week shopping, which was fine. I guess when you think about pandemic stuff, it sounds like the county I'm in, Seattle's in, King County, is going to roll back one phase for up here.
Roll back as in getting worse?
Yeah, there's like phase 1, 2, 3. We're in 3, but based on all metrics now, we should roll back to 2. We just crossed over into too high to be in phase 3.
Got it. Okay.
Like where everything is, cases are going up a bit.
Yep.
It's not like drastically, like exponentially growing up, but it's just like a gradual tick up, and we just crossed that line. So I'm like, what does that mean? Nothing for me. I don't know.
You're still
like,
working from home.
Yeah, nothing's changed. We could be in any phase, and I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
I'm in my house in my yard. Not changing how I'm doing my shopping or anything really. So that's been the same for the past like 8 months. So that's a thing.
I've been going out more. It's been weird. I went to Costco.
I did the same thing, actually.
You went to Costco?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Costco. I went and picked up my food and instead of having it delivered, I saw a friend today. It's all weird. It's nice being fully vaccinated. I planned a thing for my wife for her to go out with her friends at a winery.
Nice.
Outdoors, masks and all that stuff. Not stupid, but like she hasn't done that in a year.
Yeah.
So, or over a year. God, it's already fucking May.
It is.
I love those Justin Timberlake memes. It's gonna be May.
Yep.
Well, this week we're talking about something that's going to happen in June.
Yes.
Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is coming out, and they had a just jam-packed state of play last Thursday, and I'd like to get your take on it.
I mean, it was overwhelming with all the new information on Ratchet and Clank. And then like an hour, 1 minute and like 30 seconds for Subnautica, and then Among Us.
I like the Among Us Ratchet and Clank little skins. That's cool.
Sure.
That could have been like a end of the show. Like, oh, by the way, this thing. But I don't know. Yeah. Those two things seem like tweets. I don't know why that was in this state of play.
Because they wanted to call it a state of play and not just, hey, we're only... I don't know. Honestly, there's part of me that feels bad for Subnautica and Among Us being included in here in this way. Like, it's sure viewership and eyes are eyes sort of thing, but it's just kind of like, oh, that's cool. We're included in this thing that is completely not about a bunch of games. It's only about this one other game that people are actually here to see.
Yeah, I guess it's a fair point, because if Subnautica and Among Us wasn't on that, I probably wouldn't really have noticed that they were being released. But because I'm laser focused on the game that I'm most excited about this year so far, I saw it. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, so it's there, but I still think it was an odd thing to do, because when's the last state of play that we've had? It's been a few months, hasn't it?
I'm trying to remember what the last one was. One that had Returnal in it.
It did, and that's what I was wondering.
Abe's Odyssey.
Trying to think, state of play 2021.
Yeah, what else was there? Abe's Odyssey.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I remember those. It was smaller, but it was a number of a chunk of different games. It wasn't 3, but
it must be holding something for summer, I would assume.
You would think, maybe. I mean,
yeah.
Ratchet and Clank is kind of their summer game,
right?
Beginning of summer. I mean, that's That's what Sony is banking on, at least right now. And after watching that 16 minutes of footage, I can see why.
Oh
It's
my god, it's gorgeous.
incredible looking. Like, holy shit. It's no joke when people are like, this looks like Pixar animation running in real time.
It does.
Well,
it's interesting because the 2016 Ratchet and Clank that they remastered or whatever, remade for PS4, like I felt looked like that already. And it's just going to look even better than that.
Yeah.
Ray tracing and all that.
Yeah, good use of ray tracing. Not everything, but it's very focused and works great. They use the loading speeds for insane transitions. I don't know, like I've never been hugely excited about Ratchet and Clank games, but this one shot up on my list. I'm probably gonna play this at some point. Not when it releases, because the next day I go on a 2-week road trip. So I will look at it sometime during the summer, probably.
Right.
But I mean,
yeah, is there anything else? I know that you're gone, but is there anything else game-wise that's coming out around that June 11th timeframe?
I thought there was something else around then.
Yeah, I can't remember anything coming out. Mario Golf is coming out in July, maybe, but I don't know if that's on the same level.
No, I don't think so. Now, Resident Evil Village, which I will never play, right. But it's interesting. I've watched some of the demo footage and stuff of these different streams, and it's intriguing. I'll give it that. Yep, Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, nothing else is really standing out for June games, but there's honestly not a lot. Maybe that's why this state of play is pretty minimal overall. Like, there's just not a lot to show.
That's what I was wondering. Either is there not a lot to show, or are they holding something for summertime? Because I can't remember the exact numbers, but several of the podcasts I've listened to this week mentioned about the Sony financial numbers that came out and how they're anticipating less sales in Q1, but higher sales in Q2 than last year. And there isn't really anything coming out in Q2 besides Ratchet and Clank. And it's like, do they have another game they haven't announced yet that's going to come out in Q2 or beginning of Q3? I don't know.
Let's see.
Oh, Horizon. That's probably the one that's not got a release date that's coming out in that time frame.
I would expect, yeah, theoretically for the second half of the year for sure. I would think. All signs point to that, most likely.
Yeah, it's interesting thing about the PS5, and I mean everything's thrown out of whack because of COVID, but in terms of big games for PS5, we've got Returnal, which just came out. We've got Ratchet and Clank.
And nothing else is dated at that point after that.
Yeah. But even all the way back to the beginning of the year, I mean, Persona 5 Scramble, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Wasn't just PS5, so.
No, it wasn't PS5 at all. It was PS4.
Right. But yeah. So is like Mass Effect Legendary, I think, is a big release, but that's only PS4 as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Oh, it's purely PS5 and not PS4. God, it's Returnal and Ratchet, right? 2 games.
Right now, yeah. Yeah, because none of the stuff is doing, it feels like we're in this weird thing where a lot of places are in some ways pivoting, probably because of COVID, to just doing these upgrades to PS5.
Right.
Like the Final Fantasy VII remake upgrade and Intergrade comes out June 10th. So.
Oh, that's true. That's right on nearly the same day as Ratchet.
Yep. But I'm just looking even a list. There's nothing really in June. I'm not seeing anything PS5 focused in July that's been announced. Lots of Switch stuff though. A lot of cross-platform things.
Anything stand out for Switch on that list too?
I mean, the Switch stuff, there's some Switch stuff that stands out. Like, I want to try Monster Hunter Stories 2.
Oh, yeah.
Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD is July 16th, which I don't care about, but it's going to be big.
Can I pause you there for a second? Do you think there's any chance at all they have an option where you can turn off fee?
I don't know. Probably not. I'll be honest, probably not.
Nope. Please, God. I'm watching that walk or playthrough with my daughter, and it's every 3 seconds. It feels like she stops and tells you the thing you were just told by somebody else.
Yep. I hate that game. I hate that game so much.
It would be feels like 50% better if you just stopped that.
Yeah, there's a lot that game does that really bugs me overall. So
yeah, so you're not picking that remake up, huh?
Nope.
Or sorry, remaster.
I did that. Oh, that got announced recently. The Great Ace Attorney.
Oh yeah, the whole collection.
Well, no, there's the Great Ace Attorney is a new game.
Oh, I thought it was a collection. It's a new one.
Yeah, but like set in the like 1800s.
Oh,
it's like Sherlock Holmesy type things.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, one of the characters is Herlock Sholmes, which actually is something. Is it something from the past? Yes, because this is we're gonna go deep into Persona 5, deep cuts and knowledge. So Persona 5, your main character Joker, his persona, like normal persona, is Arsène, which is based on Arsène Lupin, Master Thief, and there's the person who wrote the Lupin Master Thief books in the like early 1900s wanted to do a crossover with Sherlock Holmes. And was told, no, you can't use Sherlock Holmes, so he made Arsène Lupin versus Herlock Sholmes.
Jesus. Okay.
Published in 1910.
Dang, that's a baller move.
And it's funny because in the Ace Attorney, they're doing it, using that as yeah. Oh yeah, because the author was Maurice LeBlanc. And the cafe in Persona 5 where you live is LeBlanc. Yeah, all this stuff, like once you're just like, oh, this all has a thematic sense to it.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, okay, deep cut done. So no, I don't think there's a lot coming out over the summer. I think it's going to be fairly dead in a lot of ways, unfortunately, and I think it's going to be dead on not just PS5, Xbox. Switch has probably the best stuff in the fact that there just is a lot of third-party support for the Switch.
Right.
And you got Mario Golf in there as well. Like Nintendo definitely has some things coming out in the Skyward Sword remake, remaster, whatever you want to consider it. So I think they have a bit more of a even schedule continuing on. But
yeah, if you're looking at big things like those, to me, those are both fairly big titles. So
yeah, but I don't think after PlayStation, Sony launches Ratchet and Clank, there is probably nothing major at least until September, October.
And it seems fine in a lot of ways because there aren't a lot of PS5s out there. It's like 7.8 million,
pretty much,
which is a lot for the short time frame. But I mean, I feel like you'd want to wait until there were more out there before you start dropping those big ones, because if it's like a PS5 only title, you're capped at how many PS5s there are, I would suppose, unless someone wants to buy it ahead of time.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, Returnal I'd be curious what that's eventually gonna sell. Like, that just came out. I've watched streams of it. It looks amazing.
Oh my God, I can't stop watching.
Beautiful.
It looks great.
I just know that it's a game. I watch it and I'm just like, I probably only put a few hours total into this game. So I'm probably
exactly
I won't pick it up. But watching some streams on it was like, holy cow. Housemarque strikes again with showing the power of a console.
Isn't it crazy how they were able to translate some of that arcade aesthetic to a 3D over the shoulder shooter?
Yep.
That's just brilliant. Yeah, but I'm looking at it the same way. Like I feel like it's totally a justified $70 purchase, like full price for what it is. But I know that I probably won't play more than 5 hours of that game, so I will wait till it's on sale.
Yeah,
because I won't get the hours out of it. Not that it's not the quality, because it is. It's just not exactly my type of game.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wonders if they just released Returnal, potentially. I mean, they've already given a date for Ratchet and stuff, of holding Ratchet until later.
What do you mean?
Because it's only like 6-7 weeks between the games.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Returnal, and like going, well, what if we released Ratchet and Clank in July?
Mm-hmm.
To give a little bit more space. So there isn't as much of a dead time. But in general, I kind of see why like July and August are like low points for video game industry sales in general.
Usually because the kids are whatever in a typical time are gone on vacation
typical time.
home.
But even in general, even in COVID times, it seems to still hold a bit. People are outdoors more. Like what they choose to do is a lot more not sitting at home in front of a TV. And that's still like it didn't dip as much in COVID times as I can tell, but it still did. Like that's just the slower point of the year. So I don't know. But I think Ratchet and Clank, like being, it is just PS5, right? There's no way that game's PS5. Yeah, right. They showed too much. There's no way that game can run on anything but PS5. So yeah, I mean, they're at least trying to give people some reason why a PS5 should be there, even though no one can get one. But
I know, like I don't know. I felt like I needed it when it launched. Like I really wanted to have it, and I'm glad I did because I played a couple of experiences on it that I really liked, and I'm still playing Astrobot like like once a week with my daughter. So that's been a really fun experience. But you could have waited a year and not really missed much, you know?
Yeah.
I wish Ratchet would have been a little later, in fact, and I'm sort of glad there's not a lot to play just because Mass Effect comes out this month.
Yep.
Mass Effect Remastered is this month. I don't know how many years on this podcast we were like predicting that or begging for that to come out, and
12
it's finally
days,
here.
Actually, 12 days.
What's it?
12 days.
12 days?
May 14th.
I thought it was May 24th.
Nope. So did I.
What the fuck? Did they move it up?
Did they? I don't know. I was so certain it was the 24th. And then a friend of mine today was like, hey, do you know, I mean, are you looking forward to what launches in 12 days? And I'm like, what's in 12 days? And they're like, Mass Effect. And I was like, oh, shit.
Oh my God, dude, this is terrible. Because the 24th was so close to the end of my semester. May 14th is not. Oh, no.
Yep. 12 days. 12 days.
Hey, shit. Well, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's going to sell like crazy, I'm sure.
Oh my God, I can't fucking wait.
I know, like we've talked about it for years. Everyone's been talking about it for years, and it's finally actually happening.
I get to play the DLC for the first time. I haven't played the DLC for any of those fucking games.
Yeah.
So there's like some of it that is like new for me.
It's going to be completely new for you, and it's going to be really cool. I don't really like the Mass Effect 1 DLC all that much. They were fine, but I don't think... The thing is, when I think about it, I'm like, oh, those weren't that memorable. But the Mass Effect 2 and 3 DLCs were very memorable overall.
The Shadow Broker is the one that...
Shadow Broker is really good and really important. I mean, I guess if you played 3, you already know who the Shadow Broker is. Who becomes the Shadow Broker. And,
oh my God, do I remember?
Yeah, you should know who the Shadow Broker is. In 3.
I'm sure it was revealed to me. I'm saying, do I remember? Which also makes replaying them fun. 3, I have a specific dark spot for the end of 3.
I know. That's 12 days, and then 4 weeks from there, pretty much, just under a month till Ratchet and Clank.
Dang, the 14th. Wow.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I thought it was the 24th. That is
so
cool.
Did I.
I guess I can't read, or we can't read, or I don't know what happened. Good stuff, though. Okay, so May 14th, that is next Friday.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so excited. That's so cool. Okay.
Recording, and 2 weeks from today, we'll have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just say that 2 weeks, we're just talking about Mass Effect. That's the entire episode.
I feel like that should be the last episode of our podcast ever, because we talked about this fucking game so much. We finally have it. Our work is done.
Yes, it's because of us that this exists.
Yes, everyone, you're welcome. Speaking of games, I got one more for you. This is Kingdom 2 Crowns. F4I, I think. I don't think that's the one. I think it's an I. 2G RV JP6 LZGR2. Again, that's from Brad. Thank you, Brad. But Ratchet and Clank, like I like Rivet. I like the.
You know who's voicing Rivet?
It's Jennifer Hale.
It is.
And I was listening. I was like, okay, I know it's Jennifer Hale, but that doesn't sound like Shepard at all.
No.
Which is how voice actors work, I know, but still, she's good, man.
Unless you're Matt Mercer, then you can always tell it's Matt Mercer, even when he's doing different voices.
I guess maybe I just don't have the ear for it. Like McCree, I didn't know it was Matt Mercer, but now
I think
you
get. I mean, I can a little bit of play this weekend. I just played very shortly the beginning of Titanfall 2 because it was free on Steam this weekend.
Oh,
just barely. I was like,
is that your first time?
No. But I just was like, I want to see what this looks like on my current gaming machine. And it's beautiful. But I'm like, oh yeah, Mercer is the main character.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Matt Mercer is Cooper.
I played that before I ever listened to Critical Role. So
but you can just, like, there's a certain thing. Like, he can do a bunch of voices, but if you know what to look for, you're like, oh yeah, that's totally Mercer.
Right.
So,
that's cool.
But yeah.
How'd it look?
Gorgeous. That game still holds up super well. Yeah. I didn't play that much. I only played like 15, 20 minutes just to get a feel for how it played and looked on this, but
have you played the whole campaign of that game?
Yeah, good game. It's cool.
Oh my god, it's so good.
So, but Ratchet and Clank with Rivet there, cool. The gameplay looks cool. The gunplay looks cool. Like, it just looks good. Like, really good.
You know what I like the best about it that I didn't even consider from watching the state of play? There was that battle with the Gargantuan or Juggernaut or whatever it was called. And usually you are kind of like in a location for a boss fight. And you're like, the location you're in is kind of like a character too, where it's like the parameters of that location kind of box in what you can do or how you can move or whatever. And you kind of interact with it and the boss. And then you just warp and you're in a new place with this boss. And it just completely changes the battle dynamic. And it's just like, that I've never seen that. And maybe other games have done something similar. Like if you think about, I don't know, this is not quite the right thing, but like in Mortal Kombat or whatever, or Injustice, you can like smash through the wall or the ground or whatever and go to a different place, but it's still a box. And this seems like the boss fight moved to like a more open area. And I just thought, wow, that's like another thing of like the power of the new system that this can do that it couldn't do before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing is, I'm trying to think of game. I know I've played games that do something like that, but it's not as seamless. There's always, when you move through this to a new area or whatnot with the boss, it's a different phase, but there's usually a cutscene or something to hide the loading of that. So it's not a smooth, like, oh, we're one place, we're next place, snap your finger, like, transition. It's more of a, like, okay, you've made it to phase 2, sort of thing. So what this is doing is just doing it so fast and so rapidly that it just feels like a fluid part of the fight, not distinct.
Right. And that's the thing. That's
chunks of a fight, of like a longer engagement. Yeah, and it's fantastic. And I think that, I mean, watching the 16 minutes, this game is probably the best showcase of the PS5 hardware that's coming. Like, Returnal's good, but Ratchet and Clank is doing a whole hell of a lot more. Just from like using every aspect of that PS5 hardware.
Yeah, something about like the first party where it's like, obviously make a great game, but then like let's make it a showcase too.
Yeah.
It really is like just how bright, colorful, all the particles. I'm sure the DualSense controller is baller on that.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, just playing the Astrobot again, like after having played, Valhalla and what else did I play? Sackboy and Demon Souls. Like nothing compares to the haptics and the fucking controller of when playing Astrobot.
Yeah.
And
that
I'm
was
sure
a thing.
That Ratchet's going to be great.
Yeah, that was a thing that I was hearing about people playing Returnal, was how good the haptics were in it. Like, in a way that they were streaming it and being like, I don't know how to explain this to you unless you were sitting here holding the controller. But he's like, I can feel the rain. Like, I can feel every little drop of rain. And dust and the particles and the way the triggers are like resisting it halfway to give you that like chunk whenever you want to fire like your secondary fire. Like,
right.
It was just trying to explain it. It's just like, I can't. This is amazing. They said very clearly that Returnal was like the best that they had experienced since Astrobot.
Oh, that's cool. That's
in
cool.
The haptics. So it has very high hopes that Insomniac will knock it out of the park with Ratchet, which I assume for a lot of the weapons they're going to use a lot of that. A lot of the haptics and the trigger resistances, because they can, and they have always been good in their games of wanting the weapons to feel very different while you're using them. Not just, of course, mechanically different, but this is a new way to make people like really feel different when you're using each weapon.
Right, because you could have it shoot different things or shoot in a different way, but this is also like how it feels.
Yep, how the haptics will spin in your hands while that's happening, and where it will buzz in the controller.
There's that topiary weapon that Ratchet or Rivet had. I was like, well, that's so creative. And then on top of the visual aspect, the controller, I'm sure, does something different.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited for that. I think that is probably one of the... I kind of see it as like the underrated next-gen features of the PS5. Like, people just forget about it.
The controller?
Yeah. Like, you don't see a lot of people as much. Like, state of plays happen and stuff like this. People are like, oh, these graphics are great. Everything's great. It's not until you get the game and you can use that controller that people are like, oh, yeah, this controller is really good. And...
yeah, I just remember being like at fever pitch before the PS5 was out and just watching tons of coverage and watching Giant Bomb with Jeff Kurtzman. Yeah. And he's, I don't know if jaded is the right word, but it takes a lot to impress him. And he was just like going nuts over the controller. And I was like, okay, this has got to be something special. And it really is.
Yeah. So I just think it's a lot, I wouldn't say underrated. It's just forgotten a lot of times when people are talking about the games when they're not playing them. But it seems like every time there's a new game that comes out that really shows off the controller again, it reminds people of, especially people, streamers or people just playing the games, of being like, oh yeah, this controller has a lot of functionality, a lot more than we've ever had before.
Right.
And I guess the best haptics we had before were kind of like the Joy-Cons had some of this stuff.
Well, it's the same company who made the...
yeah, but but the PS5 takes that even farther.
Oh, way further, yeah. Totally.
Which isn't shocking. Like, the PS5 controller used to have more room for a lot more feedback motors, the whole thing, than a Joy-Con has. So,
right.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I showed some of Ratchet to my kids. They're excited to play it.
Yeah, I was thinking about my daughter. Like, she would love... I almost put on Ratchet 2016, and I was like, nope, too young. Like, just with the guns and the violence, like, no thanks. But eventually, I don't know when, but she would be into that for sure. What were we playing today? She wanted to do a game that was Discovery. Oh God, what did we play? I'll probably remember by the time we get to what we've been playing. But it's cool to see her like see games as a way to like explore a place that she's not in. Because she's obsessed with audiobooks right now, as a way to like learn new things. And it's weird because I'm making a bunch of music right now, and she's seeing me do that. And she's reading, her favorite book right now is Mystical School of Musicraft, which is this Harry Potter, but with a female protagonist and female characters, and in a music school. And she just obsessed with like composing and music, and likes listening to music all the time. And then she found my keyboard, and she's just like composing on the keyboard and playing. And it's just, she just is diving into books, and she's seeing games a little bit like that too. So,
yeah, that's cool.
It's good stuff. So I guess we kind of talked about the state of play, which wasn't much besides Ratchet. How about what you've been playing?
So on Tuesday, there was a Monster Hunter Rise, kind of like 7 a.m. in the morning, Pacific time, and it was like, hey, here's what's in update 2.0. There's a bunch of stuff. Hey, this is coming, will be released on, that was April, let me get the dates right. It was that's May, April. It was April 27th when this was happening. They're like, the update will be out on April 28th. Like, cool, next day, this is going to be great. It was April 28th, British Standard Time. Midnight, British Standard Time. It launched at 5 p.m. the 27th.
Oh, the same
in North
day.
America. Yes, same day.
Oh, shit.
So I have been all back into Monster Hunter pretty heavily since Tuesday night. So much Monster Hunter. So much hunting. This is a pretty incredible update whenever it just comes to amount of content that they put in.
Oh, dang. Clearly
this was stuff that was intended to be in the full release to begin with, but just couldn't make the deadline.
It seems kind of neat that it's coming out pretty quickly, though. Like, you can digest the main game and then get into that stuff.
Yeah. Yep. And then end of May is version 3.0, which has more monsters in the ending. So 1 month between these updates. And they're very sizable. This added to 4 new monsters, 3 of which are Elder Dragons. One of the monsters they didn't even tease and trade. Like, it was a complete surprise when everyone got in there and was like, hey, there's a quest for... I'm not going to spoil it for people who don't want to know, but it was a very exciting monster. I was so happy to see this monster back. I love fighting it in World. And I really enjoy fighting it here. So it was cool that they put that out and was able to keep one monster completely a surprise. So those are completely new monsters. They introduced 2 new Apex monsters, which are variations of other monsters. They're like harder versions into the Rampage mode. And then 3 of the Rampage only variations got their own just standalone hunts that you can hunt them now. Introduced a bunch of new item sets and weapons, all the stuff you can grind for and make. They introduced a full layered armor modification system. You can fashion hunt now. Nice. Any piece of armor you can also craft as a layered piece of armor, so you can just cosmetically look like that. So, which is cool because it's important to look good while you're fighting monsters.
I mean, if you're not looking good while you're doing it, why play?
Pretty much. Unlocked Hunter rank, so you can just go as high, like their base game capped at Hunter rank 7 or 8. I'm at Hunter rank 60 now, because they just uncapped it, and you just, every time you hunt, you just go up levels now. You don't get anything for levels in Monster Hunter, but that's kind of how they gate certain content of being like, oh, you need to be Hunter rank 30 to get this quest. But it was a very, very sizable update. And it's given me a bunch to do over this past many evenings and weekend. So that's pretty much all I've been playing, is just hunting more monsters. And since all the new sets they added and the decoration, which are the gems you can slot in to give you different skills, they kind of just blew open the entire meta for armors and weapons on what you can build and put together kit-wise. So I've just kind of been growing crazy with that, of just trying to collect different pieces and parts and craft all these things for different types of sets, and trying out different skills with the weapon I like. And yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I love it. It's so good.
Everything that I hear, obviously from you, but other podcasts and things I read, people talking about it, like, are just in love with that game. Like, it seems like to have done so many things right. Even surmounting the whole fucking game's not there. Like, people are still enjoying themselves like crazy. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it, is the fact that what I would consider probably the whole game will be end of May when that comes out, and then we'll have like what I bet was planned as the original release. Full release. And then I'm curious what the future looks like after that.
Do they have like DLC planned and all that kind of stuff?
I'm sure they do.
They must have a roadmap for that, but I mean, not public, I guess.
Yeah, it's not public. I don't think.
Wait, isn't it Capcom?
It is. It is a public company, but they're not talking.
No, but didn't their shit get leaked though? Didn't they have a huge leak of all their stuff?
The only thing that came out of that
Mm-hmm.
was that it was coming to PC next year.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But wasn't specifics on like monsters and plans. My current thought is, well, one, it's kind of been updated because I thought this update that would have come out end of April, there had been probably been 2 months before. So end of June was when I was expecting the next update, not end of May. So I'm still now holding that they're going to get the end of May one out, and it will probably be a little bit longer till the next one. Like instead of like 1 month, maybe 2 months before they put out the next like chunk of content. Although they have introduced the ability to do event quests now that you get basically like DLC in the game. World had a bunch of timed event quests that would come up. Like that's how you could get Aloy's armor on the PS4 version of the game. You could get Dante's armor that made you look like Dante.
Oh yeah, right.
And like they had like Ryu skin as well that you could get. They had all sorts of these little event things that would happen every few weeks. They had The Witcher. They had Geralt you could get in it. And World. But the way they're doing it here is they're not timed. They can just say, hey, we're going to give you, there's an event quest now. Go download it. And as soon as you download it, you have it forever to do whenever you want.
You stopped my heart for a second. I was like, wait, there's a Geralt skin in this one too? I'm
no,
going to buy this as well?
Not yet. But I have a feeling they might trickle out some of those event quests between updates to give a little bit more time. So, because they introduced, I think on Thursday this week, the first event quest, which was hunt a basic monster that most everyone has hunted before, but you get a new gesture for doing it. So they're kind of just testing the waters, but I expect that they'll ramp that up between updates to kind of keep people engaged. So yeah, I think they're doing a lot of stuff really right with Rise. And it's showing. They said that they sold 6 million copies the day before this update came out.
Dang,
so 6 million copies on Switch makes it the best-selling third-party game ever on Switch.
Holy shit. And it's just getting started.
It's the 15th best. I checked it up. Was the 15th best-selling game on Switch ever. Mm-hmm. The 14 games in front of it are all Nintendo.
Right, of course. Including Mario Party, which just got an update.
Yeah, so... But this is just getting started, like you said. I have a feeling this is going to end probably around 10, which is less than World, but this is also on one platform. So, and who knows? When it comes out on PC, I'll probably rebuy it. So, they'll probably make a bunch more money then.
Right. Basically double dip. Everyone who's going to double dip.
Yeah. But I mean, if I want to see what the RE engine will look like on my PC, because I realized that Resident Evil 8, The Village, is also the RE engine.
Right.
That's the whole point of it. So right. I'm like,
it's supposed to make Resident Evil games.
Yeah, this is going to look probably amazing on the PC.
That's going to be such a crazy experience to go from having like a great time on the Switch to having a great time on the PC and having it look fucking incredible.
Yeah. So I don't know. This game is really good. I think it's a great starting place for anybody who wants to try Monster Hunter. Like anything, Monster Hunter does have a steep learning curve. They've at least tuned the difficulty in this one through the beginning of the story to be a little bit more forgiving.
So you get your feet wet and learn your shit.
Yeah, without getting stomped into the ground constantly.
Right.
And I feel like this one cuts away a lot of the even more baggage than World did, and being like, yeah, just you spawn on a map, the monster's on the map, go fight it. You can see it. Like no investigation, none of that junk. Make your way to the monster, collect your buffs along the way, fight, go. So
yeah, I feel like there were a couple layers in World that kind of stopped me from getting right into the action.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just because I didn't understand the game.
It's possible. World had a bunch of stuff where it's like, hey, we want you to, when you get into a map, you don't know where the monster is. You need to run around, collect the different investigation things, so the monster will pop up on the map, where to go, the whole thing.
Right.
So it had a little more, I would say, build up to the actual fight starting, but
Right.
this Rise is more about just getting across the map as fast as you can to fight into the fight. And they give you a lot of tools to get around the map very fast now.
So it reads more about like a boss fight simulator, perhaps.
Oh yeah, yeah. Your 20-minute, 15 to 20-minute boss fights go, and it feels really good once you know a fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing. I guess I did a little bit of Path of Exile one night when I was pretty tired. I'm very in the end game of that, just doing maps, but not much new to say other than I played some. And I'm working on crafting a weapon for my build, but that will take a long time. So
I haven't played much this week just because of how much work I've had, and then I spent a couple of nights doing music, making music. But I did Path of Exile one night. I'm really enjoying that game. I know it's deeper and more complex and whatever than Diablo in some aspects, but it's scratching that Diablo itch real fucking hard, and it's great. And then other than that, just played a couple of games with my daughter this week. We're going through Majora's Mask some more, and it's fun, interesting because the first time we played together, I played separately like the night before, the first like day basically, or the whole 72-hour cycle. So I knew where to go with her, so I didn't get stuck or whatever. Like just keep her on the critical path, or just keep moving toward the goal or whatever. The second one, I didn't do that, which is fine because like it's signpost, it's fine, easy to follow or whatever. But I gave it to her. She wanted to move Link around, and she was learning how to swing the sword and use the R button to block with the shield and stuff. So she's starting to figure out how to use some of those buttons, but she's really good at moving around in 3D space, as opposed to like a 2D game or whatever. But I didn't realize how much it would bother me of that fucking timer. Like, we've got 72 hours. We need to move on to the goal. And she's just like spinning around in circles, just like chasing I forget what it was, like a Skulltula or a fucking, a bomb shoe. This game's version of that basically. And I was like, no, we got to go. And I was like, just let it go. Just let her go. And then today, boy, I have never been so close to wanting to put my Nintendo Switch through a wood chipper as today. We, during our game time today, my daughter wanted to play Super Mario Sunshine, which, my God, the controls, the camera it's from 2002. And there's some precise things you need to do in the third episode of the first fucking area to get there's like 8 red coins that are strewn throughout the windmill village there. I don't know if you played Sunshine or not. But they're
not a ton, but it's been a very long time as well. So
oh man, there's just like these tight ropes, and you have to like jump from one to another and walk across a roof to another roof, and there's like these platforms with like sails on them that you have to use your water to spin the sail to jump across to another one, to then jump across to a roof, to then climb a tower, to jump out and use your water to float to the other tower, and then jump from that tower back to the first tower's roof, and then back to the other roof, then up a tightrope. And like, it was a lot of precision jumping, and like a good Mario platformer would do, with using the flood to like float and stuff. So eventually you run out of water. So the first time it took me a while to learn where to go and what jumps I needed to make. So by the time I got to the top, I had no water. So I had to come all the way back down to get water to fill up flood, get back up there, and then I fucking slip and fall back down. I have to go back up again. And I get back up, and I had forgotten to fill my water up. So I got to the top, and I had run out of water again. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind. So finally, it was like the 6th try to get to the very top where I got the last red coin, and then the sunshine appears even higher up the map. And I was like, oh, fuck, now I don't have it. Okay. I'm going to go. I had to jump across 2 roofs to get to this tightrope that goes like basically like, I don't know, like a 70-degree angle up. And I get to the top, and there's like this electrical charge coming down the rope. And it's easy. You just got to jump over it. So jump over it and use flood to float. I float too far. I miss the platform, which is just barely bigger than the sunshine, and fall all the way back down to the bottom. And I use that moment to tell my daughter how video games teach you about patience and how trying again if you fail, because you stick with something and work through it. And I wanted to scream and throw my controller on the ground and stomp on it and then piss on it and then turn the TV off and never play video games again. I was like, oh my God. And by the time I finally got it, I was like, I love this game. But the whole time I hated it. I was so angry. But not letting it show.
Yes. I understand that feeling quite a bit.
Boy. So yeah, that was my experience with Sunshine today.
There you go. Sounds very relaxing.
Oh my God, no, not at all. But she was just enjoying the shit out of it. There was a battle with Petey, the piranha plant, on top of a windmill or tower or whatever. She set up her play couch that we have for her, a bunch of cushions, and she was pretending it was Petey, and she was jumping against it and like doing all this crazy acrobatics, and it was fun. It was a good time. But other than Path of Exile one night, all my game time has been with my daughter this week, and it's probably I've only played like 4 hours this week, probably all told, except for Rocket League, but that's every Thursday.
Yeah.
And
just
that was
normal.
Maybe the best accumulation of own goals that our group has ever had. It was hilarious.
That's
and
good.
Sad. Yeah, so good stuff. That's
nice.
All I've played this week.
Well, cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's episode 290. If for some reason you scrolled to the end, we had some game codes at the beginning, so go ahead and check those out. Please rate us on your podcast service of choice, and we will be back next week to talk about how excited we are that Mass Effect will be coming out next week.
Yeah.
At the point next week.
It's going to be so good.
Oh, my God. The 14th, man. That's cool. Cool stuff. All right, folks. Thanks.
All right. Later, all.